Happy Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into another week of Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order and Damian Mitchell here with you as we get you closer and closer to the start of the college football season. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I know for a lot of you, this is kind of the week where routine probably starts to set in a little bit, right? Because you had the kids going back to school last week, and it's always weird, it's not a full first week, so you don't really do a whole lot. But now, you actually have to go to school and do school stuff, and feels like everybody starts to get into their routines, right? If you have kids that play football or cheerlead or whatever, I'm sure their afternoons are all taken up. And the great thing is that 1 week from today, when we are doing the show, it'll actually be game week. It'll be game week. It'll be week 0 in college football. It'll be the opening week for, I assume for most of you, if not all of you, is in terms of high school football next Friday. So it's here. We're getting very, very close to the start of actual football season. Of course, we've got the preseason going on in the NFL, so you have a little bit to get you by throughout the week. But we had scrimmages going on this weekend. So you had Auburn scrimmaging on Friday, Alabama on Saturday. So it's all it's getting very, very real, and we do have notes, breakdowns, observations for you from both Auburn and Alabama scrimmages, because, of course, that's the main topic of conversation. But it's nice to just know we're already in the middle. It's crazy. It feels like it was just August 1st, and now we're already in the middle of the month of August, and before we know it, we'll be at the end of the month of August, and then before we know it, we'll be halfway through college football season, and we'll be wondering where the time went. So that's where we are right now. But we do want to start off, and we do want to dive into what happened at the scrimmages for both Auburn and Alabama. And so we'll start off with Auburn since they got on the field Friday. And so a little bit different from them in the sense of you didn't get to hear from Hugh Freeze directly after the scrimmage. So we heard from him later last week, I think Wednesday or Thursday of last week. So we'll hear from him again this week. But with Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, you did get to hear from Kalen DeBoer right after the scrimmage. So still waiting a little bit to, I guess, get Hugh Freeze's full perspective on a lot of things, after you're able to go back and rewatch some of the tape and things like that. But we do want to know from y'all. I know a lot of you are on message boards. A lot of you hear things, what's going on in these fall scrimmages. And we'd love to hear from y'all what your immediate thoughts are, reactions are, anything that maybe you heard over the weekend that has you really fired up for the season. Maybe something you heard over the weekend that has you a little concerned about your team for the season. So 205-834-9450 is how you get on to the Courtesy GMC text line. But let's go down to the plains of Auburn, Damian, and we can start off with what happened out in their scrimmage. And again, we talked about this on Friday before they hit the practice field, right? And a lot of the times what you hear in these, especially the first scrimmage, right, is the defense tends to be a little more ahead of the offense. And that's what you would typically expect, especially when, let's be honest, you're bringing back a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball. And you do have some turnover on offense as well. But, you've got a new quarterback. You're trying to do things a little bit differently. So you would expect that maybe the offense runs a little bit behind. And so that's kind of what appeared to be the case on Friday. So the defense continued to play at a really, really high level, according to the people that were able to be there at the scrimmage and observe some parts of it. So defense continues to play at a high level, which is good. But unfortunately for the offense, that means that execution wasn't quite where they wanted it to be. So earlier on, it seemed like Jackson Arnold was having a really strong scrimmage, or at least a really strong start to it. And then maybe that kind of tapered off just a little bit. But the defensive line that we've talked about a lot of young guys bringing a lot of energy, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism. Apparently they got the better of the offensive line for the majority of the scrimmage, which had been a little bit of a common theme in practice, just I guess at least last week, where the defensive line was really, really putting together some good performances. So the offense was able to have some explosive plays, but they turned the ball over a couple of times as well, which Hugh Freeze apparently was not very happy about on the sidelines, of just not executing at the highest level like you would be hoping to going through the first scrimmage. So again, you were able to get some explosive plays out of the passing game, but overall the consistency on offense wasn't quite where you would want it to be. Some good news, though, was that at least on this part of the offense, the special teams part of it looked really, really good. So Alex McPherson's still out there having a really, really good camp, which, again, I know a lot of people go, why are we really talking about this? But if you are an Auburn fan, you know how important that part of the game was last year when it was lacking. And so having a consistent kicking game, I mean, seriously, that's something that last year, I mean, that might have, led to an extra win or two along the way over the course of the season based on how your special teams performs. And so that's something that if Auburn is going to have the kind of year that a lot of people expect and want them to have, Damian, that's going to have to be better as well. And then finally, some guys that really stood out to those that were able to observe on the defensive side of the ball, because, again, the defense continued to kind of steal the show on Friday. But you have Keldrick Falk, no surprise there, as he's expected to be a first-round pick here and then very near future. Amaris Williams, another guy there up on the defensive front that continues to get rave reviews. So that's good to hear. And then how about a freshman, Jared Smith, out of Thompson? Apparently had a very, very strong showing on Friday and is one of those guys that seems to be playing like he's gonna be on the field. He's gonna get some playing time here as a freshman. But that's a guy that coming out of high school, we knew exactly how dominant he could be. And then of course Jay Crawford, who by some reports has been the best player overall in camp for Auburn, continues to play really, really well there in the secondary. So those are kind of the big takeaways for Auburn. Again, defense kind of gets the better of the offense in the first scrimmage. Jackson Arnold had some nice moments, but some turnovers by the quarterbacks, not enough consistency on offense. Does any of that, again, it's the first scrimmage. As we said, you typically hear good things about the defense, Damian, but does any of that give you pause or I guess give you some more question marks here now as we head further into fall camp, kind of the second half of fall camp?
No, not necessarily any kind of worry, but it does make me question. Hugh Freeze, he was very open of, he wants his quarterbacks to leave the practice confident. Does this necessarily make you confident if the quarterbacks kind of struggled a little bit? I think it gives you confidence defensively. Like if you're DJ Durkin, you're like, okay, well, we're kind of showing you some of our vanilla stuff, and y'all can't really do too much. So does that say more about our defense really starting to take that next jump in year two under the system? Or is it just, offense is just taking a little bit of time? And I do think that it's good to hear, Jay Crawford. And one of my biggest question marks about Auburn heading into the season was the secondary. Like, is there going to be a guy that you can depend on to kind of, man up one side of the field? And it seems as though Jay Crawford is really doing that. And I think that it's iron sharpening iron, where he knows that no matter what receiver he's going to take a one-on-one rep with, or they're going to get in pass scale with, it's going to make me better. So the more plays that I make against these talented receivers kind of boosts his confidence. And it kind of, it's kind of how practice is structured. A lot of things during the week that, quarterback may complete because, as a defensive guy, you got to keep guys upright, or, it may be a kill shot that you have against a wide receiver going across the middle, but you kind of lay off and just kind of tag up. Well, now in the scrimmage, everybody's live. Now the bullets are flying, and the defensive side of the ball is finally like, thank God, I can finally let loose on something, on somebody. So you can understand why the defense would have a little bit of kind of the upper hand in the first scrimmage, because they are finally getting let loose off the chains, where the offense, it's, okay, these are the plays that maybe we need some more reps at, or now we need to see what it looks like 11 on 11, full tilt, where everybody's kind of having to read and react. So I think I wouldn't necessarily be concerned. Now, we start stacking days, and it's like, okay, the defense is winning. One that kind of separates, okay, this defense may be legit, and offensively, because we're going against such a good defense, maybe we're starting to, hit a little bit of a fork in the road of, man, we got to twist it. We got to switch it up on them. Like, we got to find some way. Maybe our first and second week install needs to ramp up a little bit. Now the RPOs, I need to be more particular of, all right, now I need to pull it. Like, I need to stop hesitating. Boom, here it goes. React and just see what happens. But overall, I think if you're an Auburn fan, it's good to know that the defense has really started to gel well together. And again, it's year two under DJ Durkin, so you wanted to hear that. You want to hear, of course we know the Keldrick Falks and things like that, but maybe Jay Crawford is taking another leap. When we saw him get a good bit amount of playing time last year, But now it's, okay, now we know he's the man, and we'll see where it goes from here. So I think that I would proceed with caution, but I would feel cautiously optimistic of, all right, hey, things are looking up.
Yeah, and I think we've, for example, I think the thing that a lot of people would maybe you would perk your ears up, I guess, more so is just when you hear things that, maybe the offense isn't being executed at the level you would want, and a lot of people would probably immediately go to quarterback and go, okay, so are we going to have, you probably start having concerns that, oh, is this going to be, another situation like the one we just got ourselves out of? And I will say, I think the good thing that you have heard this fall from Hugh Freeze is, right, like you heard him say, I guess, I don't know if it was earlier in the week, last week, or a couple of weeks ago now, but, him talking about Jackson Arnold maybe being a little bit greedy in the RPO game, right? And so how that was an issue. Then they had a day off. They have meetings with the head coach and with the coaching staff and the players. They go out on the practice field the next day. That's not a problem anymore, right? And so you have these things that, it's going to pop up with every team, right? That's why you go through fall camp is to iron out these kinks. But you just wonder if, I guess everything you're hearing is that the issues are being addressed and they seem to be coachable and fixed pretty quickly. So we'll see if that continues to be the case with some of the things you heard out of the scrimmage. And I also think, again, my biggest takeaway of Auburn's fall camp so far is just how many of these young guys on defense really seem to be, taking a big step forward. And like, there's a lot of guys like where, you almost have it's a good situation to be in, right? But you almost have like maybe too many guys to where it's going to be a struggle for some of them to get on the field just because you have so many guys that have started to stand out in fall camp. So seems like, again, pretty good day defensively for the Auburn Tigers. Room for improvement on the offense. Special teams looks really, really sharp. So plenty to move forward and build off of there if you are the Auburn Tigers. And we can't forget, though, of course, after the scrimmage came out, you did have some more big news for the Auburn Tigers, not involving anybody that will be on the field this year. But in recruiting, Auburn got their biggest pickup of the 2026 class so far, and four-star wide receiver Jason Matthews. So he announced his commitment to Auburn on Friday afternoon. He chose Auburn over Texas A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss. So it's a pretty good group of teams to beat out there for one of the better wide receivers in the country. I know On3 has him as, I believe, the number 9 receiver in the upcoming class. So certainly a nice addition there for the Auburn Tigers. And speaking of On3, that's probably what a lot of Auburn fans will recognize as the official recruiting rankings now, because they have Auburn all the way up to 37th in recruiting after the pickup of Jace Matthews. Many of you probably not referring to 247 anymore because they have Auburn at 54th still. So I think we know which way many people will be leaning, as On3 has them at 37th. So definitely a big leap up there for the Auburn Tigers. And again, this is what we talked about with Jaquez Wilkes, right? You saw what one four-star commitment did for them, jumping them up. I think it was 10 or 11 spots in the rankings. Now you have them jumping up even more with the latest pickup of Jace Matthews. So maybe the start of a little bit of a hot streak here on the recruiting trail for the Auburn Tigers. But you also had Alabama. They had their first scrimmage on Saturday. We also got to hear from Kalen DeBoer. So we'll let you hear from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, as well as share some of what we've heard from the first scrimmage, as well as when we are expected to have a starting quarterback named for the Alabama Crimson Tide. All of that coming up next on Morning JOX. .618, welcome into Morning JOX. Conrad and Damian here with you, recapping the first scrimmages of fall camp. So we just went over what happened down in Auburn on Friday as they were on the field for their first scrimmage then. Then on Saturday, you had Alabama and the Crimson Tide. They were out there for their first scrimmage. You got to hear from Kalen DeBoer afterwards, and so we will bring you some Kalen DeBoer here in just a moment. But appreciate those of you texting in, calling in. Hang on just a little bit. We will get your reaction. We know a lot of you want to talk Auburn. Some of you want to talk Alabama. Some of you want to talk other SEC programs and what's going on in their fall camps. And so we will all get to you here after we recap what happened down in Tuscaloosa over the weekend. So we'll start off. Let's hear from the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Damian, just sort of his opening remarks after the scrimmage, what he saw out there as Alabama had their first scrimmage of fall camp.
Good scrimmage for the guys. I say it seems like every time, but I felt good about the back and forth. There was times the offense moved the ball, especially early up the field, and defense did a nice job anchoring down as the scrimmage went along. And we got into some situations at the end, some end of game stuff that I think is really important. Things that we're able to do much more and be comfortable repping those things. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but that's why we practice, and got some end of the game situations in there at the end too. So just kind of last second stuff, 7 seconds and last play of the game type thing.
So there you have it. Good back and forth from the offense and defense there in the first scrimmage for Alabama. Well, how about the topic that we know everybody, it was kind of funny. You had Nick Kelly there in the press conference. The first question, hey, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. I'll ask you about the quarterbacks. And Kalen DeBoer actually said, yeah, I almost just went right into the first question without letting y'all ask it because I knew exactly where we were going. And, of course, that is the quarterbacks. So this is Kalen DeBoer, just kind of his assessment. How did the three quarterbacks look during the first scrimmage?
They've done a great job, first of all, taking care of the football. No picks today, a few touchdown passes between all three of them. And the completion percentage over the course of camp for all three has been in that, range that we want. Like to have a minimum of 65%. And they just did a good job being consistent, but they've taken care of the football. I think there's maybe 3 picks all camp. When you talk about 7-on-7 drills, team drills, I might be off one, probably not off 2, but they've done a good job taking care of the football. And I think the first week just missed a few plays. The last practices, finding the ways to get explosives. I think, command in the huddle. I think your 2 guys that have been around the offense the longest, Ty and Austin, when they get in a huddle and they got to rattle off a play, they're sharp and confident with it. Keelan's still learning those things, but he's doing a great job. The progress is something that you'd hope for, and he's right there. So, explosive opportunities, they got the ball there. They delivered the ball. And timing, I feel like very few times are we in a spot where we're not throwing on time, not confident with where we should deliver the ball.
So there you have it. No turnovers by the quarterbacks on Saturday during the scrimmage. So on the one hand, obviously that's what you want to hear. Now, if you're the secondary, not what you want to hear. But hey, it's a give and take on that one. I think overall a lot of people take a clean day from the quarterbacks. But the grand question of them all, we are getting further along in fall camp, and this is inevitable. It's going to happen at some point, Damian. Naming that starting quarterback. So this is Kalen DeBoer on the timeline for when he hopes to have QB1 named for Alabama.
I feel like we're getting closer. I would have said before camp, we definitely got to make a decision by the time we get done with the second scrimmage, and I would anticipate for sure that being the case. And we'll see kind of how the next few days go. But it's 2 good showings, I think, especially by Austin and Ty again today, and again Keelan making the progress we'd hope for. You can see what his ceiling is going to be. It's just a matter of more reps.
So there you go. Kalen DeBoer saying after the second scrimmage of fall camp, hopes to have a starter named for quarterback. Don't think it's going to surprise anybody that it's going to be Ty Simpson, barring some drastic change here over the next few days. But that is Kalen DeBoer saying what he wants. And I don't think that's anything crazy, Damian. I think we all expect that it's going to be Ty Simpson. And at least it won't be. I will say it was kind of fun. It was also, very stressful, but it was kind of fun. The 2-1 Jalen year, right, where they didn't announce who it was going to be. You had to wait until that first game and see who ran out on the field first. But, pretty safe to say that's not going to be the case this year.
No, and I think we all kind of had a gut feeling of as long as Ty just doesn't absolutely blow it, we pretty much know it's going to be his job to lose. Now, it's good to hear that Austin Mack is, covered a lot of ground, so you don't feel, bad if Ty Simpson kind of struggles. Everybody has a confidence of, Austin's going to be that guy. And he's harping on the fact that, Keelan Russell is a freshman. Not even asking him to. It's really 1 and 2. It's literally just Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, as long as he continues to develop, maybe in the future. But really and truly, everybody's it's kind of all signs are showing that it's Ty Simpson's job. He's continuing to do what's needed and do what's best for the offense to keep chugging along. Austin Mack, in case of emergency, in case something happens, Ty, God forbid he gets hurt or anything as far as has a little bit of a slip up, they are just as confident with QB2 going in and taking over the game. And again, Keelan Russell being QB3, freshman, understandable. We're fine. Talent may be there, but he still has to get acclimated to the speed of the college football game. And I think that room is starting to separate. And again, Kalen DeBoer, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in SEC media days of he seems so much more comfortable and confident of how this team is starting to gel together. Like he doesn't feel like he's on the salesman pitch anymore. It's nope, these guys know exactly what the expectation is, what we need to do. I just need the best 11 out there at all times to make sure that we get the job done.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, based on the people that were there over the weekend, it really does seem like the quarterbacks have kind of separated themselves into three different groups, right? Where it's very clear that Ty Simpson's the guy at the top, Austin Mack very clearly at number 2, and not necessarily in a way of, oh, well, he's played poorly. It's just Ty Simpson has a little more experience. He's been a little more consistent out there, and that's what you would expect. And then Keelan Russell, obviously looking the part, and when he throws the football, you can tell, all right, that guy is going to be the future of the program at the quarterback position. It's just the little things like you even hear from Kalen DeBoer, right, of getting in the huddle, commanding the offense, being able to, quickly reel off the play call, and things that, again, as a freshman, you would expect him to be a little behind the other guys on. And so it's nothing from a natural talent perspective or anything like that. It's just, the fundamental things, little details and things that are very, very important at the quarterback position. So that clearly taking some shape there. So you had some good news there again with the quarterbacks, everything looking good. Everybody's happy. We're expected to name a quarterback soon. But how about on the other side of things? Here's Kalen DeBoer. What are some things that concerned him or maybe disappointed him during the first scrimmage for Alabama?
I mentioned Jam getting some good runs the first couple of plays of the game. Obviously, that meant there were some seams. And so the first drive in particular, some seams. And so we got to be ready to play, gap integrity defensively. But I didn't feel like over the course of the scrimmage, the defense had an issue with the run. So just being ready to go with the first couple plays, the offense got down the field pretty quickly. Defense did a nice job anchoring down and keeping them out of the end zone, though, at the end. So some good give and take. When I say that, that's kind of the first drive only. But I thought they did a good job. And so then on the alternative, what you'd like to see is the offense continue to execute, right, and the run game. And it wasn't like they were bad, but those explosives that you want to try to see, certainly the defense did a nice job of clamping it down.
So there you go. Defense a little leaky early on, but able to clamp down and prevent Alabama from driving the field, or the offense from driving the field early on and getting a touchdown. I was told that they missed that because Ty Simpson had Daniel Hill wide open. Daniel Hill didn't turn around in time, and that's why Alabama should have had a touchdown on that first drive, but ultimately the defense able to get a stop there. But some quick notes, just kind of overall from the scrimmage, kind of a little more detail. So Ty Simpson had 2 touchdown passes on Saturday. The big play, he had a 50-yard touchdown pass to Isaiah Horton. That was the big play that everybody was going crazy about there at the scrimmage. Again, Austin Mack looks solid. Keelan Russell, clearly the future, but just not quite ready yet. Isaiah Horton continued to get rave reviews. Really, I heard all good things about all the receivers. Ryan Williams doing Ryan Williams things. You heard Kalen DeBoer, in one of the clips he's talking about Jeremy Bernard making a lot of plays. Cole Adams' name gets brought up, Rico Scott. So, yeah, I was about to say, all elbow brace. Yeah. I was about to say, that's how a lot of people know who Cole Adams is. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that guy. But, yeah, so you got a lot of shout-out there from the wide receivers. You heard him kind of briefly talking about Jam there in that last clip, but Jam, Daniel Hill, and Richard Young continuing to get some good praise there in the running back room. Injury-wise, you did have Jaden Roberts out, which is not great because that was a guy that was hurt a lot of last year and kind of just has had injury problems in his time in Alabama. But he was out, and then you had James Smith on the defensive line who was out as well for the scrimmage. Those were the 2 guys that were held out. But then kind of like you heard Coach DeBoer talking about there, defensive line struggled early on, and pass rush continues to be a bit of a question mark. That was a little bit lackluster, but I think they had 4 sacks overall throughout the scrimmage, so got a little better later on there. But again, a little bit different than the Auburn one, where it feels like maybe you had more consistency on the offensive side of the ball instead of the defensive side for Alabama, whereas Auburn is maybe more the defense and the offense. So kind of an interesting dichotomy there. But that's what we've been hearing from Tuscaloosa. Overall, seems like a good first scrimmage for Alabama, as well as a good first scrimmage for Auburn. But, of course, some things to shore up here as we get into the back half of fall practice. So those are the big recap moments, things you need to know from the first scrimmages of fall camp. And we know a lot of you want to chime in with some of your thoughts, your questions on what's going on in fall camp. And that is where we will go next on JOX. 6:34 here on your Monday morning. You're listening to Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock when we hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. And appreciate you making us a part of your morning each and every day here on JOX. And a lot of you wanting to chime in on things from over the weekend, whether that's scrimmages in the SEC. You had a big weekend for the Braves as they pick up 3 wins over the Marlins. 2 wins on Saturday, a win yesterday. You had the first female umpire in Major League Baseball as well. You had the NFL preseason, Shadur Sanders. Everybody acting like he's the next Tom Brady after a preseason game. But good to see him go out there and perform. But let's tape our expectations a little bit, people. But
yeah. You would have thought the Cleveland Browns won a Super Bowl over the weekend.
Who's the last quarterback to get a Nike ad off a
preseason game?
I'm sure it's happened before, but I don't remember it. So
hey, but Cam Ward is that dude.
Yeah, he had a solid showing there for the Titans. So a lot to get to from over the weekend, and we go to the phone lines now because we've had some of you waiting by patiently to chime in with your thoughts. So let's start off with Adam, who calls in from Calera this morning. How are we doing this morning, Adam?
I'm doing good. Just a comment, and I'll hang up and listen. Did y'all see that lady MLB, the umpire, the first lady umpire, blew her very first call?
Yes, I did see that.
Blew
She's
it
just
by about 6 inches.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate.
So she's picking up where every other MLB umpire is leaving off.
I was about to say, seems like she fits in pretty well. Yeah, no, I mean, I saw that. I saw a lot of people that were having fun with that on social media. Don't think we can really criticize anybody that comes into Major League Baseball as an umpire at this point.
Exactly.
Is she better than Angel Hernandez? Yes. Yes, she is. So, So, again, I know a lot of people are having fun with that, but yeah. So, but big weekend for the Braves again. They picked up, they took 4 of their last 5, actually. So
there we go.
Bit of a, yeah.
So a fight for the wild card now.
No. But,
okay. Never mind.
No, but at least if you watched, it wasn't a waste of time this weekend. So I guess that's the best thing you could say about what's going on there. Let's go to Don. He wants to chime in, I'm sure, about Auburn recruiting as well as the scrimmage on Friday. How we doing, Don?
I'm good, guys. How are you guys? Hope y'all had a good weekend.
Absolutely. So you like what you heard from the Plains on Friday?
Well, yeah. But let me just say this real quick though, and what you said was right. Of course, Auburn on 30th official recruiting rankings that I go by. Of course, anybody every year, Conrad, whoever has Auburn highest, that's my official side.
I think that's how every fan of every team operates. Whoever has them the highest, that's the one that they're going to go with. So yes.
Well, yeah, and you remember last year on me and Damien. I'm sorry, not last year, but last week on me and Damien's debate, Pat wanted to make sure that I knew that we were last in the SEC, but not no more, my friend.
Not anymore. That's right, Don. Yeah, Jace Matthews, a nice pickup there for y'all on Friday, and you've got Womack, right, is in the pipeline here soon as well.
Right. That's on the 21st, and a little nugget on that one. His sister plays softball for Auburn, so we feel like we're going to get him. And now he's a 5-star on every site now, guys. He's like one of the top defensive backs in the country. So that will really jump us up. And I read a good article last night about that. We are expecting about flipping about 4 or 5 people, and mainly there's one kid that. And he's a legacy. There was a kid named Spencer for down in the Mobile area. His dad played for Auburn, was a very good defensive lineman. But some nuggets on the scrimmage that I heard. When you do a scrimmage like this, guys, you're going to see multiple reports and everything. It was nuts on my message board. Well, so-and-so, you had about 6 different versions of what happened. But
I heard at the beginning that Jackson Arnold had the best scrimmage ever, and then at the end I heard that he looked terrible. So I'm like, okay, so it's somewhere in between is ultimately what we're looking at here.
Well, yeah, and then also, too, I bet you're thinking the same thing. Well, no, my defense is bad. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's nuts. Now, on the second scrimmage now, I do want to see some improvement on the offense. There's concerns about our offense, and I will give both of you guys that. And, I know that. And, Jackson Arnold is still having trouble holding on to the ball, and we're all worried about that. But what are you happy with what you heard about Alabama, Conrad?
Generally speaking, yeah. I think in the sense that the concern or the most common concern that got brought up is something you already knew with the pass rush and defensive line. That was already a concern going in. So, I guess not great that still is a question mark, but, all things considered, seems like the offense looks pretty good. It just, Alabama might have to score 50 points every game this year, but, it is what it is.
That's true, my friend. But, hey, guys, hopefully we'll see everybody tomorrow at Social Taco because, I'm going to be gone for a while and everything. But got a lot to talk with everybody about tomorrow. Got a lot of good stuff. Me and PG got some stuff planned. So I know he's on hold waiting to talk to y'all, so I will let him have this turn. But, guys, thank y'all very much, and hope to see y'all tomorrow. Sounds good,
Don. Appreciate you chiming in. And, of course, he did say PG is on hold, and he is. And PG wants to talk Florida, no doubt. How's DJ Lagway looking? Does he still have both of his legs, PG?
Well, guys, I tell you what, before I get to that, I've got to give a shout-out. Damien's going to love this. How about them Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, did they look awesome?
Hey. Listen, it's the preseason. Listen. You didn't get us at our full clip. We only wanted to see Cam Ward for 2 series. Now, I will say this. We ain't got a quarterback on the roster if Cam Ward goes down. We are back at square one. We might go back-to-back number
Who's
1
your
overall
running back
draft
now?
picks.
Oh, no, you got Tony
Pollard.
Yeah.
But no, good job. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Y'all are pretty deep.
Damon, that was a Florida quarterback Trask. Maybe he can come back to Florida and have a year eligibility because Lagway, I don't think he's going to make it through the season. He didn't even scrimmage. What is going on down there? I would love to find out. I think something is more. Can't baby him all the time. He's not getting no reps or nothing, but all this going on, him being hurt. I don't know what I guess his strain is still bothering him in his calf muscle. What's next, you guys? You think he's the next Anthony Richardson if Florida stays hurt?
Oh, I hope not. I feel like I've already seen enough to tell me he's better than Anthony Richardson, but I see, and that's my thing, PG, is like there's part of me that says put him in bubble wrap and don't open him up until the first game of the season, but he's still a young guy. Like, you need these practice reps, and he missed them in the spring with the shoulder, and now he's missing it with the calf. It's not great, man.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if that Yale quarterback's going to come through for it.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, did you guys see the Jaguars 70-yard field goal by that field goal kicker, and that don't count because it's preseason?
I did see that. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible.
Oh, wow.
Lane Kiffin would have been proud. He would have liked that one.
Enjoyed talking to you this morning. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow, and that'll be cool. And Don's going for a cruise now. We're going to miss him, aren't we? It's going to be like a week or something. No Don on the radio?
It'll be a lot different, PG, but the other callers are just going to have to step up, right?
Yeah, we're going to have to step up, or I'm going to have to go to the shrink. Without him, I don't know what I'm going to
do. Thank you, PG. Appreciate you chiming in this morning, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Oh, appreciate all of y'all chiming in there on the phone line. A lot of you texting in now, 205-834-9450. Some people don't like that think that we were making fun of Shedeur. I really wasn't trying to make fun of Shedeur. Like, he legitimately played well on Friday. It's just
right.
It's a preseason game in which he was afforded the ability to start because 4 other guys in front of him got hurt.
Yeah, and also I would love to see him with the first team. Like, he was going out there cooking with pretty much everybody that's fighting for a job.
I was about to say,
he looked well.
He did that with no reps.
Yeah.
Let him go actually practice now.
Right. Like, ain't nobody putting him down. I actually think like if anything that he showed me on Friday is, my guy Joe Flacco, listen, man, you have had a hell of a career. You are leaving it in good hands in Cleveland. And if you're Dylan Gabriel, it's like, dang, what can I do?
Well, I was about to say, I've seen more practice footage of Shedeur just because, he's going to get a lot of the attention. The footage that I've seen of Shedeur in a Browns uniform and the footage that I've seen of Dylan Gabriel in a Browns uniform, one of those guys looks like they should probably be in the USFL, and it's not Shedeur Sanders. So, we'll wait and see what happens with that situation there. But, yeah, there's some interesting headlines going around in the NFL preseason as well. But we still want to get your thoughts, some of you chiming in, what you heard from Auburn and Alabama and their scrimmages over the weekend, some question marks moving forward. So we'll continue to hear from you. And how about two big-name coaches who are looking to get back in the game, and would they fit in the SEC? We'll get into all that next on Morning JOX. .649 here. Welcome back into Morning JOX. Conrad and Damian with you here on your Monday morning, getting you set for McElroy and Kublik in the morning, where I'm sure they'll have more breakdowns, recaps, assessments of the first scrimmages of fall camp for Alabama and Auburn. And we have your reaction on the text line that we will get to here momentarily. But first, Damian, we have to let you know about a way that we can all hang out together here very soon and kick off the college football season.
Absolutely. Let's celebrate the kickoff to college football at the Bill Smith Buick GMC JOX kickoff party at Regents Field on Thursday, August 21st. And the only way to go is by winning tickets. Today, actually this week, is the last week of qualifying. So to enter to win a pair of tickets for you and a guest, text the keyword SCORE and your full name to 205-834-9450. Again, the keyword is SCORE and your full name to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily. And for more information, visit joxfm.com.
Well, there you have it. Yep, that's coming up in 10 days, so not very long before we will all be together at Regents Field. Look forward to getting to meet each and every one of you and talk a little football with you. And we'll get to your text here in just a second, but I did tease it going into the break, and if you missed it over the weekend, we did have a couple of coaches, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, right, because do I think these guys will get back into coaching in the future? Yes. Do I think it'll happen in the SEC? No, not necessarily. But you had John Gruden first off, so he was addressing the Georgia football team, and there was a little video that got out of him, very colorfully and passionately telling them that, he would love to coach in the SEC and to be a part of this conference and the level of competition that he's itching to get back into coaching. And then you had Jimbo Fisher yesterday, who said that he would enjoy and that he's starting to get the itch again to get back into coaching. And he was even asked about, the time at Texas A&M, it didn't go as well as I would have hoped for it to, but don't forget we had the best recruiting class of all time while I was there. So that's his pitch for.
That's how you get it done.
Yeah, yes.
He's telling you, but I get why he's doing it, because he's trying to explain that in this whole NIL saga that we're in, I was the best at it because I know what to do with the money. I know exactly what players to go after. Maybe that, whatever budget the house settlement settles on. And Jimbo's like, I can work with that. Great businessman. Also, he got some money in his pockets too. He can't spend it all. So it's, whatever Texas A&M is continuing to pay him, he can help out with the recruiting side of things. Get Jimbo back in college football, man. Just let him handle it.
Yeah, I think I see what you did there.
I'm here for it. Now, Gruden, on the other hand, I think it'd be entertaining. Like, I would love to have a Hard Knock series of him in a college fall camp.
This might be, I don't know, I might just be. Let's say that I was Arkansas and you had to let go of Sam Pittman this year because things didn't go as planned. I would hire John Gruden before I hired Jimbo Fisher.
I get it. And
that's just me personally.
That locker room would be absolutely insane. To go from Sam Pittman to John Gruden, yes, like get the cameras in there. Got to see what's going on. Spider 2Y banana. I'm here for it.
I like John Gruden. I know obviously there's a reason that he's not coaching right now, and yeah, some things that he should have been better about in the past. But yeah, that's a guy that he will be back in coaching, and he's a good coach. I think a lot of people would be happy to see that. So just a little bit of a fun there is two of the more iconic coaches here of the 21st century talking about potential returns to the game of football. But we want to wrap up with your text messages here. Get to those 205-834-9450. Where somebody asks, has Malcolm Simmons been kicked off the team yet at Auburn? No, he has not. He is still on the team there. Somebody chimes in and says, how about Auburn moving up 40 spots in 3 weeks to now being ranked 37th in recruiting, top 20 rating per recruit? Auburn's 2026 class will close in the top 10.
Let's go.
Top 10 would be very impressive. I think, for me personally, I'm thinking maybe like top 15, but never say never. Apparently, according to Don, they're flipping like 5 guys, and some dude's sister plays softball there, so it's over.
It's done.
Shut down the recruitment right now.
Everybody was mad at Hugh Freeze during the summer he was golfing. He told y'all, August 1st, man, changes everything.
Hey, where do you cut the best deals? On the golf course.
Talk to him.
Paul chimes in. He says, I'm going to need Coach DeBoer to stop saying anchor down so much. I guess Clark Lee rubbed off on him a little bit. Let's see. Someone says, when it comes to Shedeur, let's see what happens when the bullets are flying against first stringers. Yeah, he certainly still has something to prove, but, a good first impression, if nothing else. Let's see. Someone says, if Shedeur would have gone out there and stunk it up, then you'd all have a lot to say. He was a decent showing, and now you all moved the goalpost. Shaking my head. How are we moving the goalpost?
No. He looked a lot better than the New Orleans Saints quarterback.
He looked good.
Yes.
But he got Nike's running advertisements about his incredible preseason game performance.
Right. Now he does his week 1 opening season, regular season. Absolutely. I want to see him cook. I absolutely do. But let's kind of, pump the brakes a little bit. Like, all right.
And again, no one wants to hear this, but if it wasn't for 3 injuries, he wouldn't have, that wouldn't have happened. And again, good opportunity. He took advantage of the opportunity, but let's not act like this dude needs to be a certified starting quarterback in the NFL for 1 preseason game. We have a couple people saying John Gruden 100% over Jimbo Fisher. And let's see, do Auburn fans know we play games in 2 weeks, or are they just happy to be winning at recruiting again? Thanks, y'all, for chiming in this morning. We're back tomorrow at 6.